Hey everyone, it is Dr. Raya from Raya's Raise the Light Foundation. On this episode of Raya Hope the Podcast, I am joined with the beautiful, my friend Julie Morrison from the Heal Her Foundation. So excited to have Julie join us today. Thank you so much, Julie.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So for starters, I just want to first thank Julie for the foundation that she's established with Heal Her. If you follow Julie, you know she is doing something great in our community. She actually created a platform for women to come on, tell their stories, and more importantly, to heal, because we don't want to, focus too much on the past. We want to make peace with our past, but we want to heal, and she has provided this huge platform that we're so grateful for. It's called the Heal Her Foundation. Right now I'm going to let Julie give you a little bit of background information about herself and how she got started.
Hello, and good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Raya, for having me. I am so honored to be connected with you and the work that you're doing. So in the meantime, I am Julie Morrison, and I am the director and founder of the Heal Her Foundation, which was founded in September of 2015.
Wow, my gosh.
Yeah, we've been rolling, okay?
Yes.
It's like going on 7 years now. And I'm just really, really blessed even have the opportunity to serve my community.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yes, you are. You're doing it well.
Yeah, so basically, the Heal Her Foundation is more or less a group of women that come together and we put our issues on the table and we find solutions. We figure no more suffering in silence.
Right.
Okay, especially women of color, we have a tendency to suffer in silence, thinking that we're strong and we can handle it until we break. The whole thing is not to break.
Right.
So the reason why I created the foundation, where it was just going to be a couple of friends, and we were going to come together and we were going to get our issues on the table and figure it out. But then it grew. And it became attractive to a lot of women in the community, like, hey, I'm feeling a certain way, but I just don't know how to change these feelings or hurts or indifference or uncertainty. Right. So it's like, okay, this is something major. This is something big.
Yes.
So let's try to find a way to heal our hurts. You know what I mean? Introduction to counseling, therapy.
Yes.
Well, a lot of women, you know how we were raised.
Yes.
What happens in the house stays
in the house.
No, we're not telling nothing.
Doesn't help us.
You better not go to that school and tell that teacher nothing.
Nothing. Doesn't help us.
So, in the meantime, this was a way to introduce that and to let people know that there is healing in therapy. I do provide a support group meeting once a month for the ladies to come, and I invite counselors and life coaches, doctors, therapists in to help teach us a new skill set. So we can handle conflict resolution. We can handle the triggers of childhood trauma. We can, and what we can do to be empowered to move forward. Because I truly believe, especially for myself, that if I didn't get some of them unresolved issues taken care of, it was going to affect my marriage, my parental with my son, with my employment. It'll affect everything. In your life until you understand what makes you tick, what hurts you, what causes triggers. It's just a lot. So I don't care how successful you can be in life.
Absolutely.
When that trigger hit, it may set you all the way down.
And take you back.
Yeah. So that's the gist of the foundation. And we basically have support group meetings once a month, every first Saturday of the month. We do community events, we do workshops. We do a lot.
Yes,
we do a lot. And and now it's going on 7 years, and we have grown so much.
Wow.
And I have seen the transformation of so many women that have come through our doors and are now stepping out of stagnation. They're being empowered. My tagline has always been, healing her empowers her.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
say that again.
Healing her empowers her to be and do whatever she wants to do.
Amen. Well, we are so blessed. Let me tell you, when I started following Julie on Facebook, I was so inspired. We all have a story. Being in the medical field, any woman that I come across, any man that I come across, they have a story. But what intrigued me about Julie Morrison is she took her pain and she turned it into her purpose. That's huge. She took the shame out of her past and she said, how can I give back to my community? How can I be a blessing during my storm? How can I bless someone now that I've been blessed with healing? How can I teach people who are attracted to me? Because we know once you become self-healed, you attract brokenness.
Exactly.
And Julie has become a victor. She's no longer a victim to her circumstances. And the Heal Her Foundation gives women that courage, that power, that strength, and that voice to say, this happened to me, but I'm going to heal from this. I'm going to turn my pain into purpose because I witnessed Julie do it.
Exactly.
So we appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're doing God's work.
Yeah.
And you're allowing Him to use you.
Mm-hmm.
And to see the manifestation of the Heal Her Foundation and what it's doing.
Exactly.
The sky is the limit.
Mm-hmm.
If you could follow Julie, you would understand how important the Heal Her Foundation is. It's major, it's huge. I want to talk to you about, what do you think the Heal Her Foundation can do for the future generation? Because right now, you know, based on what I see, you have a lot of women that are our age, that graduated from high school, 80s, 90s, some in the 70s. What can we do, and how can we get more younger women involved in the Heal Her Foundation so that they can share their stories and we can continue this beautiful journey that you started?
Oh, definitely. I would love to see that. See, my generation, I grew up in the 70s. I was born in the 70s, grew up in the 80s, and we are the generation that was considered angry.
Yes.
We are the generation that started to create a character flaw of entitlement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I should have been raised like this. I should have had a mother like this. I should have had a father like this. I should have had a life like this.
Ooh,
and because I didn't, I'm mad at the world.
At the world, yeah.
So a lot of times you have to start to realize it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I may not have what my sister has, because my life is my life and my purpose is my purpose.
Absolutely.
So comparing gets in that when you start comparing your life to the Brady Bunch.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love the Brady Bunch.
Yes.
Oh, I love Marsha.
Yes.
But yet and still, if you go back and you look, they had issues too.
Yeah.
So, you know, every generation is different. My mother's generation was the generation of the baby boomers.
Yes.
And so they kind of started making some waves.
Yeah.
You know, my grandmother's generation is you're married, you stay together forever, no matter what happens, you know, They didn't really deal with stuff. It was like secrets in the home.
Right.
My mother's generation started to self-medicate because they didn't understand. It didn't make sense. That's when power started to happen.
Yes.
Then our generation came and we started looking at, you know, we're generation, what are we? Generation X. And it's like, okay, the baby boomers, they had some errors. So we started judging them. So guess what? This next generation, which is the millennials, they're judging us.
Yes.
Like that we're weak and whatever. So they are a little bit more stronger than us in certain areas.
Yeah.
Now, their generation has what we would call things taboo. Their generation is more of the norm for them.
Yeah.
So their hurt is different from ours. So now we can't do the same things that we're doing. Like, you know, right now, my generation, we can talk about it. We can speak about it. I have invited different types of women from all walks of life to come speak on our forums to share their story. Because sometimes you can listen to somebody else like, I'm not the only one. I don't have to be embarrassed and ashamed or guilty about my indifference or whatever happened to me in my life, or certain things that, you know what I mean, that you think nobody else is dealing with. So that was a healing to say, hey, I'm not alone, and now I have a sisterhood of people who understand me. Now the new millennium, I don't know. I really, really don't know. I mean, their norm is different from my norm, so only suggestion that I can say, listen to them, not judge them, not criticize them, listen to them, because there is a power in their voice, because they're a lot stronger. Because some of the things they do, I'm like, ooh, calm down now, y'all, and they're like roaring. I'm like, oh Lord, but then I have to say, oh my goodness, their strength, their tenacity is just none other. The millennium generation are more into owning their own business. When I was growing up, no one said I could be a millionaire. No one said that I can do all this. You know, you had a certain percentage of people that went to college and had that family backing to send them to college to do something great in their career. My growing up was like, okay, graduate from high school if you can. And get a job and work 30 years. And so never did I think that I could have my own business. If you go on Facebook, these millennials have so many businesses. They are out here doing it. They're risking it because you know what? I wanted health care and I wanted stability.
Right.
So I just think with the Millennium Group, we have to listen to their power and what their, some suggestions they have. And I think them looking at us, and guess what? Their kids, which is my son's generation, which is going to be that Generation Z. That's a whole tech generation. They are so technically savvy. They're going to look at the millennials and find fault in them.
Right.
So I just think that's just kind of like the generational thing, but breaking generation curses so you don't make same mistakes is what's major to me.
Right.
So.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. And you brought up a great point about how the next generation, they're strong.
They are.
So are they strong because they're suppressing their hurt and their pain, or are they strong because they've been forced to level up?
I think both.
Okay.
I think they're suppressing their pain. I hate to say this, but I'm just going to be so transparent.
This is unfiltered. This is raw.
I remember posting a question, and I said, the baby boomers, they basically, didn't really talk. I mean, my grandmother's generation didn't talk about their hurt. The baby boomers became, I don't know what secrets and self-medicating. Generation X, we became the angry black woman, of course, and I'm not saying just black women, but we became a different kind of generation. Right. And the millennials, I said, what does the millennials do? Right. You know what I mean? They're not suffering in silence. They're not are they self-medicating or are they mad? And a person posted, a man, he said they commit suicide. Oh, wow. And I'm like, oh.
Wow.
And I started to really look at that, like, instead of dealing with the issue, they'd rather just check out.
Wow.
Where did that come from?
Right.
So they have I think they have an urgency to level up, and I think the pressure is a lot. A lot of barriers have been broken from taboos, but I think if it's too much, that fight through it is what I want to know what we can do. I'm not saying that this is statistically true. This is just what a poster posted on my question. And I said, well, what do they do to deal with their hurt? And that's what he said. He said they commit suicide. And we started looking around. I think just recently, Taraji P. Henson's son, and she has no idea why he committed suicide. Her only son, I think. So.
Yeah, it's sad. And I think that's why the foundation is so important, because if we can teach our generation to heal or to take the steps to become more balanced and whole, then we can reach out to the next generation. But before we wrap up, I would like for you to give some background as to some events and things that you have coming up, because it's important that you keep the community connected.
Oh,
and you do an awesome job of that. You're always having lunches and meetings and dinners. So just in closing, give us some things that you have coming up so that we can be on the lookout for those, so we can get more people involved and get more people healed.
Okay, so like I said, I do a lot of community events, and everybody is invited to everything that I do. We meet every first Saturday of the month from 10 to 12, and we'll have different topics, speakers that come in. I invite you to come out. It is definitely free. If you follow healher.org, I will post all the different events that we have coming up. I think the next event we have is the blind brunch, and that's going to be on March the 5th. This is a way for you to meet new women, new friends, because if you didn't grow up with people, sometimes you may be out of the loop. If you move to a new city, you may not know too many people. This way you can meet someone new, and it's called the blind brunch, and I don't want to go too deep into it, but go ahead and go to healher.org, and it's on here. That's March the 5th. The next major event for the community is called the Heal Her Festival. I'm excited. This is my first year doing that. And we're going to talk about the Heal Her Festival presents her amazing race to healing her mind, body, and soul. So we're going to have so many activities, mammogram mobile, biometrics. We're going to have Zumba. We're going to have line dancing. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have food, and it's free to the community. You come out, bring your children. It's going to be May 21st. You're going to get more information because we are definitely putting a dynamic day together. And I just think it's just kind of good for us. So other than that, I think the next thing we have is I am a breast cancer survivor, and that's going to be another conversation. But we're having the pink luncheon, and that I want all women in all types of pink. You came last year.
That one was awesome. That event was, I mean, it was probably the talk of the city during that time.
It was really
great.
Awesome. And it was good for me going through my journey with breast cancer, losing my hair, going through chemotherapy. Oh, it was just, I survived. That's all I can say. And that's going to be October 2nd at the Columbus Museum of Art. So that's going to be awesome.
Yes.
I love seeing all the different women supporting with all their different colors and pink. So get your pink dress out.
The speakers, the lunch, everything was
and we danced.
Perfect.
We had a DJ.
Yes.
Shout out to
the
Jay
line
Esquire.
dancing.
We have a good time.
Yes,
That's what
it
it
was.
is. So
great.
all year long, we're working on ourselves. We are working every month on different healing aspects. We have workshops, so why not have a little fun? Learn how to enjoy life. So come connect with me, Julie Morrison, thehealher.org, the Heal Her Foundation.
Yes, thank you so much. We want to continue to support Julie. We want to thank you so much for coming on Raya Hope the podcast. Tune in because she is coming back. This lady has a wealth of knowledge and so much going on. There will be more podcasts with Julie. We cannot thank her enough for what she's doing to our community, for our community, in our community. She's just great. God bless her soul for giving back the way that you do so selflessly.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in to Raya Hope the podcast. We really appreciate you tuning in and supporting us. We again thank Julie and the Heal Her Foundation. Please go follow her on Facebook and Instagram. That is thehealher.org. You will not be disappointed. Refer a friend. Refer someone that is in need of healing. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Be blessed.